Hey, it's Maribou. Welcome to the nursery. Today I wanted to show you a kind of magic trick that I find amazing. So it's called the infinite salad bowl. So first you'll need a pair of scissors and a container. You go out and you cut pieces of your salad. Kilimanjaro basil, cranberry hibiscus, Okinawan spinach, gynera, oregano, copa, mint, katuk, tarragon. Okay, the next step, glass of water, scissors. Take your cuttings and start taking off the parts that you want to eat, putting them in your salad bowl. You want to take off the biggest leaves along the stem, and then also at the tip of your stem you want to pinch off the little growing tip. And take your leftovers, the part you can't eat because it's pretty much solid fiber, you can't digest it, and put it in your glass of water, and then you just keep doing this. You plant, trim off big leaves that are going to go in your salad that are actually digestible, trim off the little tip and put it in your water. When you basically when you cut off the leaves here, this is what's called a node. It's basically like stem cells that can form either leaves and stems or roots. The reason you want to cut these off is because if you put, well, besides wanting to eat the salad, but if you leave these on underground, they'll just rot away, and that can sometimes cause infection for the plant, so you want to avoid that. And the reason that you cut off the little point here is because that point is actually actively sending plant hormones, auxins, down the stem, telling each node not to basically not to branch out, not to put too many roots, because this is usually where it wants to grow from. But it's actively sending like a blocker that prevents these from growing roots. So this is pretty much what you're left with: really minimal leaves and a long empty stem with a bunch of little nodes. The reason that typically you want to use scissors to cut these off is if you just pull off the leaves, sometimes you can rip the skin off the stem, and that can cause infection later. So you want to keep the stem skin totally intact, but just cut off the leaves and open up the nodes. So now you've got a bowl of salad greens, bouquet of cuttings. When you're done eating, this is the next step. I would leave these in water approximately 30 minutes, depending on what time of day that you've harvested them. If it's in the middle of the day, it hasn't been raining, it's really hot, they'll need to perk up a little bit more than if you did it in the morning, or if it's been raining, you don't really need to let them soak in the water that much. But give them about 30 minutes in water, gives you time to eat, and take your cuttings and take them to the garden. Okay, so you're probably wondering what these weird looking tubs are. I don't actually live at this house, so this is the way I water things when I'm not around, so I don't have to depend on other people to keep plants growing. Basically they're just, you know, basic storage tubs, like underbed storage tubs. They're pretty shallow, lids on top, and Inside, you fill them with water, and then on top of the lid, there's a piece of fabric. It's a polyester fleece. It goes along the whole surface of the, let's see, goes along the whole surface of the lid, and then there's a hole cut in the lid and a tongue at the end of the, let's see, it's a little tongue that goes through a hole cut in the lid, down into the water. The water gets pulled up into the fabric, disperses it evenly over the whole top of the lid, and then you take your pots or whatever you want to get watered, and you put them on top, and through the magic of how water molecules stick together, everything gets watered. Also, when it rains, the water drains, goes back in the hole, and refills the tub. But for cuttings, you'll want to have these in the shade, poke holes into the soil. That way you don't break the stems when you put them in. Take your cuttings. You want to have at least 3 nodes, if you can, underneath the soil. And you always want to water these in after you plant them. It just, for one thing, it makes a connection to the wicking cloth, so the water molecules can adhere to each other and climb up all the way into the soil. Another thing, once the cuttings are in, it draws the soil so it makes contact with the nodes, which is going to create moisture and actual physical pressure, so that they'll start sending out roots. At this stage, they're not going to need any fertilizer, but just adding the azolla anyway, it'll provide a partial mulch. This stuff here is called azolla. It's a nitrogen-fixing fern. It's basically a fertilizer that you can grow. It pulls nitrogen out of the air and fixes it into the tissues of the fern. And you can use it as it's basically like a cover crop, but you raise it in water externally, scoop it up, add it to, when you water your plants, and this stuff acts as fertilizer. So in about 1 week, you can move your cuttings out in the sun, give them another week or two, about 3 weeks before they're ready to go. And you can look at the bottom of your pot, you'll see little root hairs coming out. That means the plants are actively putting out roots. So they're ready to be repotted. You can see the healthy root mass. And you just want to gently separate. It's a nice earthworm. But you can see all the roots that have come out of this cutting that used to be the leftovers of your salad. So you take this guy, put him in the pot, or better yet, put him in the ground. Add some mulch, and your infinite salad continues. As you might have guessed, you can propagate quite a massive amount of plants using this method. From that single salad, we generated 19 new plants. One salad equals 19 new plants.